I'm Helen Wong. I'm the commander of AMVETS Post, Golden Gate Post 34, and we're here at the VA providing sandwiches for our frontline workers today. Yay. And here's my extraordinary volunteer, C J Reeves, our newest AMVETS.
Hi, CJ.
Yep, he's our newest member. I know he has to get going and deliver because these guys are waiting for their sandwiches. Exactly. And I forget his name. I forgot your name.
Can you tell us a little bit about your military story?
He's military. Yeah, Steve is military. One of our younger guys.
I'm in the Army. I'm a 31 Bravo military police. I was in Saudi Arabia for 10 months. And now I'm helping out at the VA for my fellow veterans. I'm providing security, and I'm serving those who serve.
That's excellent. Thank you. And thank you for your service.
Helping heroes heal.
Yep, exactly.
Heroes helping heroes heal.
All right, do you want to go ahead and do your sandwiches while we chat with her? And then you'll be back probably with it by the time, there's not too much. You want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, he's going to go and deliver. And we have Victor, our finance officer, and we have David. Okay?
Victor.
Which branch of the service were you in?
Okay. So I'm Victor Rodionoff. I'm the finance officer at AMVETS Post 34. Why do I help veterans? Partly obligation, partly participation, and I enjoy so much to be continuously part of the community that I came from, which is, of course, U.S. Air Force. There are no others.
Oh, no, I hate to disagree with you on that.
I know.
But that's okay.
I'm just kidding.
But we know the Army's the best. I'm sorry.
No.
Okay. Well, Army is good too. We all work together.
Exactly.
We all work together.
Now that is the key. We all work together.
And we work for the best and the good of the veteran.
Very good. Thank you, Victor. Appreciate it.
Yes. Okay, and to his right.
I'm Double Dog David Darrell.
Hi, David.
Good
and
to see
you are
again.
the AMVETS. What do we make you? Second vice commander.
Second vice commander, AMVETS. And what moved me so greatly to get involved was still today, the amount of veteran suicide. And the numbers really haven't moved in the right direction. And even as we sit here on these grounds here, things have happened of recent to another fellow Marine here really perplexed me. And I've been in those shoes and I know what it feels like to want to pull the trigger, and I haven't. And I want to do something for my fellow veterans to help reduce those numbers from about 28 a month, which is about almost 1,000, a day, almost 1,000 a month. So that's 12,000 veterans a year committing suicide. We don't hear about that in the papers.
I know, and that's one of our AMVETS programs. The national program is suicide prevention. So you're right, within our parameters of programming. And as a second vice, that's one of the things that you've been like keeping an eye on, which is good. Okay, and today, because we're not able.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Because we're not able to go into the hospitals. I'm the AMVETS rep for the hospital, and because we're not able to go into the hospital to do our normal volunteering at the CLC and some of the other places, this is what takes our time. We've done several feeding of the frontline workers, and today is a cold day, but we're here. And even though we're on the purple tier in San Francisco, we feel it's important enough to support our frontline workers. And that's why we're here today. Absolutely. From the time of our inception as a post. So from the beginning of AMVETS Golden Gate Post 34, which was chartered 1962. And so that's a lot of years ago, almost 60 years ago. AMVETS has been one of the veteran service organizations that's been really involved in the hospitals, helping veterans with different programs. We have a service officer that helps with claim work, that sits in the hospital when he is back in his normal duty. And we have service officers at the Oakland regional office. So that has been, a blessing that we can keep them going.
Commander Wong, can you tell me how long you've been the commander of AMVETS Post 34 and why AMVETS is so important to you?
Gosh, probably I've been a commander of AMVETS Post, Post 34, for I'd say at least 15 years, something like that. And I originally got involved with AMVETS because when I first went to a midwinter, I believe, or a state convention, they were very welcoming. They did not discriminate because we were Vietnam era or whatever, era that we were. And I had just retired from the Army Reserves. And so it gave me a little more time to be involved with veterans groups. And I felt, AMVETS was the most welcoming. They welcomed women veterans, all different eras. And if you wanted to be involved with AMVETS, they found a way of getting you involved. So, it's been a really good organization for us to be involved with, and especially in San Francisco, where there's probably 40,000 veterans, and there's always projects going on. There's always something to help veterans with. And as our second vice commander, David, had alluded to, suicide prevention is one of the programs that AMVETS is involved with. And we want to continue that regardless of what the COVID pandemic has done to us and shutting us down and all. So I think this is our one way that we can help out this year while we are limited to visitations, limited to helping in the hospitals doing volunteer work. So
even with the pandemic raging on, still, this is one of the reasons I wanted to do this story. You still find a way to work within the community, making a difference for others.
Yes. And there's always something we can do, we can help with. So, this is our way of giving back. Okay. And we're waiting for our newest life member, CJ, to come back from doing his deliveries. He is a volunteer here, has been, oh gosh, since I believe last year. And in the past month, in November, he put in over 600 hours of volunteering, which is extraordinary considering that most people don't even work, but 160 hours in a month, if you're putting in a 40-hour work week. And because he's here volunteering 10 to 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. And yeah, he's here on the front lines helping with the screenings. And he's just a volunteer. They've offered to hire him, but he feels like he's given back by doing his time, helping out with his time. And so far, because of the pandemic going on, he's been right at the forefront coordinating volunteers coming, the few volunteers that come in with food donations, or when they could accept mask, face covering donations, some of the things that they could take. And they have a food pantry that they're still taking donations for. So that's for their veterans who are kind of homebound right now. Right now, everybody's homebound more or less. So he's been doing that as a way of giving back. And hopefully at some point, he'll be able to take his vacation, because he's had his vacation rescheduled like 3-4 times. He was supposed to go on a cruise, and it hasn't happened for him, unfortunately. So eventually it will. Okay.
How often do you do these outreaches in San Francisco?
We have our meetings once a month. We're still doing our Zoom meetings. And so when we have our meetings, we talk about being able to support frontline workers with donations. And So it's averaged out about every 6 weeks. We've been able to provide some kind of lunch for our frontline workers. So today, with the help of AMVETS Department of California, we were able to buy sandwiches, and then we just augment it with sodas, chips, and cookies for dessert, and candy canes, because it's a holiday. So that's what we've been doing today.
And I know to some people that this might seem like a small thing, handing out sandwiches, but I'm
Uh-huh.
sure to the people that receiving them, it is a big deal. It is a thank you. It is much appreciated. It is something that others do for recognition of the sacrifices that the frontliners are making for everyone.
And it's especially crucial on Sundays because there's no food service available. And unless the workers bring their own sandwiches in or call in Uber Eats or some kind of way of getting food in, then they're pretty well stuck here. And they work long hours. The pandemic's not going away. And so the screening's still going on. The lockdown's still in effect. And the workers still are really, really careful as far as how they're treating their patients. And they have, I believe, 60 COVID-19 patients here in this hospital. So, the cases haven't gone down. They were very low for a long time, but right now, I believe they said they have about 60 cases. So, the work continues on. In whatever way we can help them, support the frontline workers, we're glad to do that.
Now that is really commendable for you, Commander. And I wish I was up there involved because, I'm a member of your post.
Right. And you've always helped.
Many events together back in the day, but
Mhm.
I really admire the fact that you have a group of people willing to dedicate themselves in service to others. And that's really
Yes.
the stories that we want to tell.
Right. And so we have our newest member, C J Reeves, who was here. Then we had our second vice commander, David, Jeffrey. And then we had our finance officer, Victor Rodionoff. And also we had one of our members, Ray Wong, and his wife, who is always supportive of activities here at the hospital. And he is the VFW commander for the local area, but he always finds time to come up and help out. So, I'm glad for their help. And though, in the past we've been able to go onto the units and pass out the food, unfortunately with the COVID restrictions, only certain people can enter the hospital. So that's why, we're here out in front of the screening area, and we're just kind of doing the best we can for the time being.
Well, at least you're doing something. So let me ask you this question, if
Yes.
you don't mind. What do you get out of this? Because I know you don't have to. I know you don't have to.
We're all volunteers here. We volunteer our time, we volunteer our gas and all to get here. I think it's when we're in a good place that veterans should pay it forward. And that's what I'm doing. Somebody helped me way long time ago. And, it's just our way of paying back and showing veterans and staff our appreciation for all that they do for us and, for taking care of us.
And how would you encourage others? And why should they join AMVETS?
By showing that we are active, we can encourage veterans, such as the earlier security police guy, Steve. He's a young veteran, and actually, I think he said he's still on active reserves. So it's showing that we care, and being out in the community is what encourages others to join. And when they see that we're doing something of value for the veterans, then it helps them think about joining veterans groups so that we can continue this legacy forward. And we've talked to some of the younger veterans about coming in and helping us out so that they can carry on the legacy once we get so old that we can't even make it. District 4 commander over 34 and post 53 in Redwood City. And so, post 53, our other sister post continues in their own way. their thing is doing burial honors. So their commander, Michael Cooney, is usually with the firing details at the national cemeteries or some of the private cemeteries that request their services. So, you know, they keep busy in their own way.
I really spend a lot of my time filming and editing. So Victor, let me interview you. Which batch were you in?
U.S. Air Force.
Oh yeah, okay. But you know, the Army's the best though, right?
Had a lot of friends in the Army. I have also a lot of Marine friends, and they tell me a lot of stuff about the Air Force that they don't like.
That's only because they are jealous.
That's exactly right. That's how I feel.
Okay, very good. What did you do in the Air Force?
Started out in logistics, and then they sent me to Vietnam. I flew with a lot of Marines, pilots, and what we did is deliver medical supplies to different bases.
So, so when did you get out of the Air Force?
74.
Oh, okay. Well,
They asked me, where would you like to serve? Where would you like to? What base would you like to go to next? And I said, Europe, if that's possible, which I knew is impossible. But they cut the orders and sent me to Wiesbaden, Germany, for the next 2 years.
so let me ask you, what compelled you to join the Post 34 in San Francisco?
Helen, her commander, her management, and her leadership. Also, she says, I need a finance officer, and she knew I had a background in accounting and finance. And she says, I would like you to consider becoming our finance officer. And since then, the first day I got in, I was also a finance officer.
Well, that's kind of a double-edged sword. Congratulations, I think.
So far, so good.
So far, so good. Well, if you, I'm not a numbers person, but if you like math and you're good at it, that's a perfect job for you within the AMVETS community.
I like, I like the numbers, but I also like what the numbers mean. Numbers alone is just raw data, but what it means is the most important, and how it impacts people and organizations. That is what the key is. And can you work?
You guys back?
Okay, and can you work the numbers so it'll help the organization, the people you're working with?
Well, very good. Well, nice talking to you, Victor. And
yeah, it's
There's screeners out here. Oh gosh, you know, pretty much the whole day and then some, because anybody who comes in the hospital has to be screened. They have to go through the process to go in, and they can't go in without an appointment. You can't just drop in. Well, unless you're there for ER. If you have ER needs, then yes, then they'll allow a veteran to go in. But aside from that, you know, it's quite a process for them. And they're out here every day of the week. So this is the screening station.
From the tunnel. The tunnel's brand new.
It's covered tunnel.
The heaters are blowing. There's 2 heaters here.
They got chairs spaced out.
It's new, like I said.
That's great. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, this is CJ.
Hi. It's not initials. It's not C dot, J dot. No, it's a C and a J. CJ is actually in all the languages. So it sounds the best in Portuguese, which is CJ.
okay.
Say Jota. In Italian, say Ilonga. In Hungarian, say Ye. In German, say Yot.
And we like American because it's easier.
Yeah, but no, the Portuguese Sejota is just beautiful. I love Sejota. So I love it when my Portuguese friends come. And we have a volunteer here from Brazil. So she has picked up. I used to have a neighbor from Brazil. She'd always say, Sejata, Sejata. And of course, we've moved, and now there's a volunteer from Brazil here, and now she's picked up. She's calling me Sejata now.
So CJ, tell us something about your military service, which branch you were in, what you did, and when you got out.
U.S. Army, yes, I got out right after Desert Storm in '96. I got in 84. I had an awesome career.
Yeah, what did you do?
I did, well, I was supposed to be a German linguist. But there's not much work for a German linguist, especially after '89. So I pretty much hobnobbed. I hobnobbed with all the generals at the Pentagon and at the Arperson in St. Louis at the time.
How many languages do you speak?
6.
Wow. All fluent? Wow, that's excellent. I'm lucky I can just deal with English.
Exactly. So yeah, that's what I did. I was a language professor after my service. I taught Spanish, I taught German, I can teach Latin, but I mostly taught ESL.
I would think that would be very rewarding.
It was very rewarding. And I was 0 level, so I got all the newcomers. We had a high school that closed about 10 years ago. We had a high school here only in San Francisco. Well, LA has one as well called Newcomer High School. It's a 1-year high school for all foreigners. They must attend that before transitioning to high school. And that's where I taught. Of course, there's 5 levels of English. I got the 0 level, so they knew not one word of English when they got here, and I got them.
Wow.
I'm into shape to transfer to another high school. So yes, I had them writing essays. I had them doing Shakespeare. They love Shakespeare. Of course, they didn't know how difficult it was. But yeah, I just played with the to be or not to be, and that was like their oral assignment. They had to memorize that. And so they loved every time we said to be or not to be. They loved it.
Well, that is the question, correct? To be or not to be, ultimately.
Yes, that is the question.
Well, that's very good. So how did you become a member of AMVETS? Why did you become a member of AMVETS? Apparently, from what the commander has told me, you volunteer pretty much every day over there.
I've been a full-time volunteer almost the last 3 years. Pretty much ever since they started the Redcoat Ambassador program.
You were saying a few minutes ago about CJ was the volunteer of the year last year.
Yes, he put so many hours in. He was selected as the VA volunteer of the year last year. Big ceremony.
Well, that's
great.
excellent.
He should be this year too, but they haven't had a ceremony. They haven't been able to do a ceremony or anything.
He did 600 hours in one day.
Say again?
Don't listen to Victor.
CJ, why do you volunteer so much at the VA in San Francisco?
Don't listen to Victor. He's ad-libbing.
Oh.
So this all got started. My whole involvement with the ESOs is largely due to Helen. Helen at the time was running the BSC. I was going down there using the BSC.
Yep.
At that time, we were looking for a VFW. We were looking for a Legion post, mainly the Legion post, since that was the American Legion headquarters. And I remember asking Helen, which post should I join? And she told me to go visit all the posts, which I did. And I still came back to Helen. And so Helen got me to join the Lions, the AMVETS, Post 384. So I owe it really all to her. I thought she was amazing. She's involved in so many things, and she was just great. Her dealing with the veterans was just awesome. And I wanted to emulate that. And so that's why we're all in the same organizations, or as much as I can. We belong to the Vietnam veterans. That's one war I don't belong to. I'm too young.
Young.
Back to the VA. So what happened was I was a patient librarian volunteer for years, part-time, just, when I had because I am a veteran, I get my service done here. So I would go into the patient library before my appointments, visit our librarian, Alice. She's a sweetheart. She does anything.
She's
And
great.
I wanted to help her with that. So I was her volunteer until the Redcoat Ambassador program started. That program is now about 3 or 4 years old. Tommy called me and said, CJ, I got a great deal for you. He wanted me in a red coat, and he pretty much put me in the red coat, and that's the rest is history.
Yep. We'll have to send some photos because he looks very spiffy in his red jacket.
We wear the red jackets. We're mainly supposed to greet the people. I was going to do that 3 days a week and do the patient library 2 days a week, except it didn't work out that way. I ended up doing the red coat every day. I got Alice's blessing to move on. She said, CJ, you are made to be the ambassador. You do that job so well. I have her blessing to leave her, and I became the full-time ambassador of the hospital every day. That's how it all started. Nothing miraculous, nothing mysterious. It's just, it happened. I also live close by. I'm also a veteran here. Just all the planets were aligned. I look awesome in red, so I was a natural. Not too many people pull that off. I wear the patent leather shoes. I wear the high top collar. I do the self-tie bow ties. I do the cuff links. I do the home ears. I do the what's the hair called? I don't know. The patients
Spike hair.
The spike hair. The patients love it. And that's how it all came into place. Don't ask me how. I still don't know how or why. It just all happened.